In 2122, the commercial spaceship Nostromo is carrying 20 million tons of mineral ore back to Earth. The crew consists of 7 people and a cat, who are kept in sleeping pods. However, midway through the journey, the ship's computer known as Mother wakes the crew up. Captain Dallas immediately goes to the computer room to ask Mother what's the issue while the rest of the crew checks on the ship. Navigator Lambert is shocked because she can't find Earth on the screen and she realizes they aren't in the solar system. Eventually she finds Earth on a map and notices they're much farther away than they imagined. Warrant Officer Ripley uses the comms to get in contact with traffic control, but nobody answers. Moments later Dallas gathers the crew and explains Mother interrupted their sleep because she intercepted a transmission of unknown origin, so she wants them to check it out. The transmission appears to be an acoustic sound that repeats at intervals of 12 seconds, but they don't know if it's an SOS or human. The crew gets annoyed because they're a cargo ship, not a rescue one, and they want to go home. However, Dallas reminds them that if they don't follow the transmission they won't get paid. The Nostromo follows the signal to an unknown planet, but when it gets close enough it starts experiencing turbulence and the crew hears strange noises outside. They manage to land the ship, but as soon as it touches the ground, a huge explosion happens that sends out some electricity and causes the ship to malfunction. The crew rushes to put out some fires and check the damage to the system, discovering that they have a hull breach. As the lights go on and off, Chief Engineer Parker and Engineering Technician Brett try their best to fix the damage. Parker explains that they'll need to do a lot of rerouting of the system in order to get the ship up and running again, which will take at least 25 hours. Dallas is frustrated because most of the channels on the ship are dead. The planet's environment is windy and hostile, and Science Officer Ash tells Dallas that Mother predicts a sunrise in 20 minutes. Executive Officer Kane volunteers to go look for the transmission, and Dallas and Lambert agree to go with him. After suiting up, the trio goes out and do their best to walk in the windy and dark planet while Ripley keeps on trying to find the signal on the ship's system to no avail. As the trio explores, they come across a massive spacecraft that seems to be abandoned. Lambert is wary and thinks they should go back, but the guys ignore her and keep going. The closer they get to the mysterious ship, the more static appears on their comms and the crew can't hear them on the comms. The group enters the strange ship and finds a fossilized alien on a chair. Dallas notices that the bones have grown outward from the body, as if the being exploded from inside. In another chamber, Kane finds a large hole in the floor. On the Nostromo, Ripley informs Ash that Mother has decoded the transmission, which is a warning and not an SOS. Back to the trio, Kane goes down the hole and finds some sort of cave with strange leathery objects that appear to be eggs. When Kane touches the mist that covers them, a high-pitched humming sound can be heard. Suddenly Kane falls down, but he quickly recovers and touches an egg, which appears to shriek as something moves inside. At that moment the top of the egg opens like a flower as it growls, so Kane peeks inside to take a better look at the alien, only for the creature to burst out and attach itself to his helmet, causing him to fall. Soon Lambert and Dallas bring an unconscious Kane back to the Nostromo, but when Ripley sees the creature she refuses to open the door because of a possible infection. An argument ensues, only to end with Ash opening the door while ignoring Ripley's protests. Kane is taken to the infirmary with the alien, and after scanning the body, the crew removes the helmet. It turns out the alien has gone through the helmet and wrapped its limbs around Kane's head, but he's still breathing. Ash tries to remove an alien limb with surgical tongs, but the limb only tightens. Then they put Kane in a pod to take an X-ray, discovering that the alien has inserted a limb into Kane's throat that feeds him oxygen. It seems the creature has paralyzed him and put him in a coma. Next, Dallas and Ash decide to just cut the creature off to remove it. As soon as they make a tiny incision, a disgusting fluid pours out and quickly begins burning through the floor. The crew immediately goes down floor by floor, watching how the fluid leaks through the different ceilings until it finally stops. Dallas uses a pen to gather some of the acid and concludes the alien uses it as a defense mechanism, so they can't kill it. Afterward, Brett and Parker continue to work on repairs and Kane runs some tests, discovering that the alien replaces its cells rapidly to protect itself from adverse environmental conditions. Ripley scolds him again for allowing the alien to enter the ship, but Ash just tells her to let him do his job. Later Dallas, Ash, and Ripley go to the infirmary and discover Kane's face is exposed. Worried, the group starts looking for the alien, which falls down onto Ripley from above. She screams as she pushes the alien off her, making it fall on its back. Ash prods the alien and makes it move, but he's sure it's just a reflex and it's dead. Then they examine the creature more closely, noticing it open from its insides. Ripley wants to get rid of it, but Ash says this is the first species of its kind they've encountered, so it should be taken to Earth for further study. Dallas lets Ash keep the alien, which leaves Ripley frustrated. In private, Ripley tells Dallas that she doesn't trust Ash. When the repairs are done, the Nostromo finally leaves the planet and starts heading toward Earth. The crew starts discussing the possibility of freezing Kane to prevent spreading a potential disease, but they're interrupted by Ash telling them that Kane's condition has changed. The crew goes to the infirmary and are happy to see Kane is up and well. He doesn't remember much about the planet, only a horrifying dream about smothering. The crew has dinner together. Kane is famished and eats a lot, but suddenly he begins to choke and becomes extremely ill. He falls on his back on the table as he has a seizure, so the crew tries to hold his body. At that moment Kane's chest bursts open and an alien pops out covered in human blood. The creature looks around and Parker grabs a knife, but Ash tells him not to touch it. Then the alien shrieks and quickly runs out of the room. The crew tries to search for it, but they can't find it. Afterward the crew wraps Kane's body up and ejects him into space. Now they can do a deeper search through the ship. Brett gets a sparking rod and Ash announces he's set a tracking device that will locate a moving object on the ship by detecting slight changes in air density. Dallas splits the crew up into two teams. He'll go with Ash and Lambert while Ripley goes with Parker and Brett. He tells them to put the alien in the air duct once they find it, and to communicate with the crew at all times. Ripley's team walks down a very dark hallway on the lower deck. The lights are supposed to be fixed, so a circuit must have broken again and the team stops to fix it. Now with proper light, the team continues their search and enters a room that's also dark. The tracker seems to be picking something up, and the group screams when something jumps out, but it turns out to be Jones the cat who quickly runs to another room. Not wanting the tracker to sense the cat again, Brett goes after Jones, meowing to get his attention. Hearing Jones meow back, Brett follows the noise, only for Jones to hide again. At that moment Brett discovers a strange scaly skin on the ground and picks it up, but he's too disgusted and drops it again. Then he follows Jones into another room where a strange ominous sound can be heard. He finds the cat in a corner, who soon begins to hiss. Brett thinks Jones is hissing at him, but actually he's seen the huge alien who has descended behind Brett. When Jones growls and moves away, Brett turns around and finally sees the alien, who shoots a second mouth out to bite Brett in the head and pull him towards the ceiling while Jones watches from the shadows. Minutes later Parker and Ripley inform Dallas that Brett was pulled into one of the air shafts by the creature. Dallas considers luring the creature into the airlock and sending him into space while Ash points out that the creature seems to have acclimated to their air, but they don't know about temperature yet. Dallas orders Parker to rig a number of incinerator units, and Ripley volunteers to go into the air shafts after the creature, but Dallas says that he'll go instead. First Dallas stops to ask Mother for ideas on how to defeat the alien and any calculations about their chances of survival, but Mother doesn't understand the questions. Then Dallas makes his way through the air shaft, reporting his progress to the group as he moves. Ripley opens the hatch for him and closes it when he's already passed through. Lambert follows the progress on the screen and reports the alien is somewhere around the third junction. Dallas shoots his flamethrower down a hatch to make sure that the way is clear and reaches the third junction, where he climbs down the ladder. Suddenly Lambert tells him to stay still because she's lost the signal for the alien. Touching a nearby surface, Dallas finds strange slime, so he lights his flamethrower for extra light and sees nothing. At that moment the alien reappears on the radar moving directly towards him. Lambert warns him to get out of there, so Dallas begins climbing up quickly even though he can't see the alien. Then Lambert screams as Dallas enters another chamber and the light reveals the alien. The radar goes static and Dallas's location is lost. The crew members try to get in touch with him but the line is silent. Then Parker places Dallas's flamethrower down in the cockpit, saying he found it in the air vent where Dallas was attacked. However, he didn't see Dallas or any blood. Crying, Lambert suggests that they take the shuttle and get away from the ship, but Ripley reminds her that the shuttle won't take 4 people. An argument ensues, so Ripley yells to calm everyone down and proposes a plan. They'll go in pairs and cut off every vent until the alien is cornered, then they'll blow it out into space. Afterward Ripley goes to visit Mother to request enhancement, but Mother states that no further enhancement is available because it's for science officer eyes only. Ripley asks for more details and Mother reveals that Ash has programmed the ship to make returning the alien to Earth for analysis its main priority, meaning the crew is expendable. Ash appears next to Ripley and says there's an explanation, but a furious Ripley grabs him by the collar and pushes him to the ground. Then Ripley rushes out and tries to get in touch with the others, only for the door to suddenly close. Ripley tells Ash to open it as she heads toward another door, but Ash closes that one too. Suddenly a strange white fluid appears on Ash's head and his face twitches, so Ripley tries getting away. Ash grabs her by the hair and makes her fall as he rips out some strands, then she tries to crawl away but Ash grabs her by the jacket and throws her against the wall. Next he throws Ripley through a door and grabs a magazine to insert it in her mouth, intending to kill her. As Ripley struggles against him, Parker and Lambert show up and attack Ash, who hurts Parker on the chest. After some more struggle, they manage to hit Ash with a fire extinguisher and he starts to malfunction pretty badly as white fluid shoots out of his neck. Parker hits him again with the extinguisher and Ash's head pops off. Wires and fluid come out of his body as it's confirmed he's actually an android, which the crew hadn't known. The headless body continues to attack Parker, but Lambert rushes behind him and stabs Ash's body to make him stop. Later the crew gathers to examine Ash's body and concludes the company must have wanted an alien for the weapons division. Parker plugs in Ash's head, which slowly reanimates as more white fluid pours out of his mouth. Ripley asks Ash about its special order and he explains that he must bring back the life form and that all other priorities have been rescinded. When Ripley asks Ash how to kill the alien, he says they can't because it's a perfect organism. After disconnecting the head, Ripley tells the others that they'll blow up the ship and take the shuttle. Before leaving the room, Parker incinerates Ash's remains with the flamethrower. Lambert and Parker go down to get coolant for the journey while Ripley goes to get the shuttle ready. While she works, she's surprised to hear Jones's muse over the speaker, so she decides to go fetch him. As she searches the cockpit, she hears a rustling sound and worries for a second, only for Jones to jump out and make her scream. Ripley then grabs the cat and puts him in his carrier. Meanwhile, Lambert and Parker are gathering supplies when suddenly they notice the alien is in the room with them. The creature approaches Lambert and Parker tells her to move, which Ripley hears on the intercom. Lambert doesn't have room to move and the alien gets closer to her, so Parker tries to help her, but the creature uses its claws to capture him. Then the alien catches Lambert with its tail while revealing its second mouth before killing them both. Ripley can hear their screams through the intercom, but by the time she gets there it's too late. When she sees the bodies, Ripley starts crying and runs away. In the emergency room, she initiates the self-destruct mechanism for the ship, then starts making her way back to the shuttle. Using the flamethrower for light, Ripley climbs down some stairs and finds a strange organic structure adhering to the walls and machinery. To her surprise, she finds Dallas stuck in there too, barely alive. There's also a shape which seems to be Brett. He seems to be dissolving and transforming into an object like the eggs from the beginning. Dallas very weakly begs for mercy, so Ripley burns them both with a flamethrower. Afterward, Ripley comes out of a hatch and retrieves the box with Jones before running down the corridor and entering the shuttle. As the lights flicker, Ripley discovers that the alien is around the corner, so she carefully runs away, leaving Jones behind. While the alien stares at the cat and hits the box, Ripley runs back to the computer and tries to stop the detonation process, but it's too late. She tries ordering Mother to stop it instead, but it doesn't work either, so Ripley angrily hits the motherboard. Afterward, Ripley rushes back to the shuttle and finds Jones's carrier on the ground, but the cat is fine. The alien is nowhere to be seen and fire is starting to take over the hallway she just came from, so Ripley makes her way to the shuttle cockpit and finally takes off, leaving the Nostromo right before it blows up in a huge explosion. Afterward, Ripley puts Jones in a sleeping pod and starts getting ready to go to sleep too. Suddenly a claw tries to grab her, and a screaming Ripley steps back to discover the alien has hidden in the shuttle to come with her. She runs to hide in the closet, where she starts putting on a spacesuit while watching the alien, which appears to be sleeping. Ripley also puts on a helmet and grabs a harpoon gun before coming out to strap herself to a chair. Then she presses some buttons to shoot steam at the alien, who begins to shriek and make its way towards her. At that moment, Ripley opens a hatch and the pressure sends the creature flying. The alien holds on to the sides of the door to stay, so Ripley shoots it with the harpoon gun to finish pushing it out. Now the alien is hanging off the door and tries to climb back into the ship through a thruster, but Ripley fires the engine and burns the alien, finally sending it out into the abyss. Safe at last, Ripley records a report of everything that happened, then she joins Jones in the sleeping pod.